1978, I was invited to go with Yul Brynner and Dr. Ian Hancock to the United Nations by the International Roma Union to present a petition asking the UN in New York for some kind of status for the world Roma community. Mm-hmm. And we had already established this flag in 1971. It was officially adopted at the first Roma Congress in Orpington near London, England, by representatives from the Western European countries and Yugoslavia.
Were you there when we established the flag?
Beg your pardon?
Were you there when you established the flag?
I was in England prior to this, and I was involved with the organising of this Congress, but unfortunately I had to come back to Canada before the Congress. Okay. So I wasn't actually at the Congress itself. I was at a previous Congress in London, which was more or less the same people, discussing the actual Congress. Mm-hmm. So I met all the people involved, Matteo Maximov, Juan de Dios Heredia, Vanko Ruda, all the people who actually were at the conference. And I was involved in voting for the resolutions, which were the adoption of this flag, the adoption of the anthem, Opere Roma, and the formation of this petition, which took until 1978 until it was ready. I forget how many signatures were on it, but it was rolls and rolls of paper. So I decided, well, we need a flag. If I'm going to fly from Montreal to New York to the UN, I got to have a flag, and nobody has one. So my daughter Diana, who is now calls herself Johnny, who is living in Spain, made this flag herself. It's handmade. This wheel is stitched on here. She actually made the first Canadian Romani flag, which I carried into the UN. Now, I also had received the anthem on a 45 record performed by Žarko Jovanović, who wrote it, playing it on his balalaika and singing. And I remember going down Broadway. It was in a Cadillac with the top down, driven by John Tine from Boston, who was the leader of Boston Roma, now deceased, a grandson of Tinia Bimbo and the king of the Gypsies. I had this flag on a flagpole, playing the CD on the car, on a cassette plugged into the car stereo system, with the top down, with the flag flying, going down Broadway, with a cavalcade of Romani cars were following the New York Roma. I met Brunner outside the UN, and Hancock and I and Tine walked in with the flag, with Brunner carrying a petition. This was filmed by UPI. Now, I'd like to mention, the day before we went to the UN, I had arrived in New York. I was at that time a features editor for a tabloid newspaper in Montreal. And I was covering, not only going there as a delegate with the flag, I was covering a story for my paper.